When the Acclaimed arrived in All Elite Wrestling, nobody could have predicted the run that they'd go on. They're one of the most successful tag teams in the company. They're one of the top homegrown acts in the company. They are one of the most successful and over acts that the company has ever had. But how did this all happen? How did the Acclaimed go from just being another tag team in the company to being one of the top acts on the roster? Well, it all started on one very controversial yet special night, and that's All Out 2022. Now, All Out 2022 isn't really remembered for the most positive of reasons. It's remembered for Brawl Out, which really was the beginning of the end for AEW's backstage harmony, which preceded it before. And after that, that's when it all exploded. That's what led to the firing of CM Punk. That's what led to a lot of fans turning on the Elite and the company. It wasn't a very good night, but there are positives. One of the positives is the return of MJF, and another positive is that this night made the Acclaimed what they are today. This night turned them from just being a fairly over act to being one of the top tag teams in the entire professional wrestling world. This really all happened in the match. The program leading into it was fine, but there were concerns about the Acclaimed being the challengers for Swerve in Our Glory. A lot of fans expected FTR versus the Young Bucks. So for this swerve, so to speak, to happen, and for Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed to be the big tag match, did bring a lot of concern from the audience. The audience felt like the tag division was devolving, like it was going from the best tag division in the world to just another tag team, as this kind of overact faced this makeshift tag team. But what really happened was that the performance that these teams had made this show. The performance that the Acclaimed had, the performance that Swerve in Their Glory had, and the participation of the crowd as they got more and more behind the Acclaimed. And while the Acclaimed weren't victorious, this was all they needed to set up their future. After this, the Acclaimed would win the tag titles. They would win the trios titles alongside their father, so to speak, Billy Gunn. Everything looked up for the Acclaimed. At the time of this recording, they're involved in a program with the world champion MJF in probably the biggest program in the entire company against the Devil. The Acclaimed are a genuine top act in this company, and while there are concerns about their booking occasionally, and sometimes rightfully so, you can't deny that Tony Khan did take advantage of this and did turn them into a top act. His booking hasn't been perfect, but I feel like it's been good enough to where the Acclaimed can thrive and continue to thrive for as long as the crowd will be willing to accept them. To end things off, I just have one thing to say. Well, yes, All Out 2022 was the night that the Acclaimed's careers changed forever. It probably would have still happened anyways. All Out 2022 was the day that the fans showed Tony Khan how much they liked the Acclaimed. But the reason they liked the Acclaimed is due to the Acclaimed's work being so damn good. Whether it be the match in itself, where the Acclaimed told a perfect story that led to the fans loving them, or the scissoring, or the rapping, or anything the Acclaimed have done, their matches, their promos. The Acclaimed are very well liked, very well rounded, and overall, just way better to have them in your company than it is to not. They are kind of essential to the way AEW currently functions. They are that very well liked stable in your company who can get over whatever you want to get over. And while yes, there are criticisms about the Acclaimed, I feel like they're talented enough where they can overcome them. I am a big believer that the Acclaimed are the ones for the future in AEW, and I'm very excited to see what they do next.